Hello guys, good morning everybody. Welcome to our YouTube analysis. Do let me know I'm audible or not. Audible. Thank you. Chaliye. So I'm gonna start the session for today, right? If you're able to see the screen, the PDF of the newspaper or the you can say the newspaper, do let me know. Yes, I think you are able to see. Right. Okay. So let's try to see what are the major news that we have in our today's newspaper, and it is related to very important. This article that is up there on the front page that is related to majority of Indian cities far from clean air target. Now this is a very important news, though they have given certain data as well as to us, right? So let's try to focus on this news. It is very important. Now before I start this analysis of this news, I want to tell you that in 2019, there was a program that was being launched in order to control the problem of air pollution in the country. Now, there were certain cities that were not meeting the required air quality standards that had to be met. So, the government thought that they need to launch a separate air pollution control program in these 131 non attainment cities. Now, why these cities were called as non attainment cities? Because they were not able to meet the national ambient air quality standards. I think those who have been studying these standards, they would be knowing that these national ambient air quality standards contains the list of 12 pollutants, and in this context national clean air program was launched that was to cut the concentration of particulate matter 2.5 by what we say 20 to 30% by 2024, that is over the period of 5 years, because the project started from 2019. Now, recently, that limit has been increased from 20 to 30%, it has been increased to 40%, and now the year also has been extended, that is to reach that particular concentration को जो कम करना है 40% को by 2026. Now, this is the whole news related to that whole program, that is a national clean air program only. As you can see over here, they have given us the different what we can say cities, their air pollution levels, that is PM 2.5. You can see Delhi in 2019 it was 18.4, 2020 95.3, 21 107.6, 2022 99.5, and 2023 102. See the case of Patna, then you have Faridabad, then you have Muzaffarpur, then you have Noida. Now this has been the mark that they are trying to say that most of them are not able to meet that standards जो हम बात कर रहे हैं, जो प्रोग्राम रन किया जा रहा था, plus the acceptable limit that is there of PM 2.5. It is very important. It is only 40 microgram per cubic meter in all the years. But as you can see over here, the average is way beyond the 40 micrograms per cubic meter mark. So that means the government has not been able to implement, if we can talk about this particular national clean air program. So this is the various factors that we have to understand, that government has not been able to implement the targets, and government has not been able to implement the required concentration limit that they had thought that they would be setting for themselves. Now, as you can see over here, there is a program that has been mentioned that I told you guys that it was a 93631 crore national clean air program to reduce particulate matter concentration 40% by 2026 in 131 cities. And when the program was initiated, the aim was to cut pollution by 20 to 30% by 2024 in these cities, but the goal post was later shifted to 2026. I hope this is able, or let's say we can say दिस पॉइंट इज क्लियर टू एवरीबडी, राइट? यहाँ पे और कुछ ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है, पर ये आपको चीज पता होनी चाहिए कि क्या चीज है या नहीं है, राइट? ओके, चलिए, नाउ मूविंग टू द नेक्स्ट पार्ट. ठीक है, ये सब पॉलिटिकल न्यूज है, अगर हम यहाँ पे देख पा रहे हैं, राइट? These are all the political news that we have. Now, this is an important thing that has happened between India and United Kingdom, that they have signed a memorandum of understanding and a letter of agreement on defense collaboration in research and development, right? So this is the important point that we have to understand. That's the, let's say, the next level of friendship that is being evolved between India and UK. Now they have signed a memorandum of understanding for bilateral international cadet exchange program and a letter of arrangement on defense collaboration in research and development. So one thing is related to international cadet exchange program, and second thing is related to what? It is related for defense collaboration in research and development. So these are the two areas over where India and United Kingdom has signed two deals, which is very very important. Okay, ठीक है, आज के न्यूज़पेपर में ज्यादातर ऐसी ही खबरें हैं, राइट? सो वी गोना लुक एट दीज न्यूज़ ओनली. We already know what is happening between Maldives and India, right? We have discussed that a lot over the years, not over the days. Okay. Now, this is a certain news that we have, that rapid rise in web blocking orders shows RTI reply. Website blocking orders have grown over 100-fold from 2013 to October 2023. That shows a reply to RTI application filed by the Bihar-based activist Kanhaiya Kumar. Mr. Kumar obtained statistics on website and online post blocking orders issued under Section 69A of IT Act. The Union government issued 62 such orders in 2013 and in 2023 6954 till October. This comes even as the Department of Telecommunication directed internet service providers to compile internet protocol addresses of servers in India to facilitate blocking them quickly. Now this is basically related to the web blocking orders that has been passed by the government. बेसिकली अगर यहाँ पे हम देख सकते हैं कि बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ चुके हैं आने in the recent past. It has increased, as you can see, from 2013 till 2023 the orders has been 6954. So this is a quite rise in web blocking orders that has been shown by this RTI reply. So these are the news that you need to just have a look at, right? आपको पता होना चाहिए क्या क्या चल रहा है, nothing more than that. Okay, now coming to the next part. Now this is an interesting news. So there has been a what we can say, a program being run by the Stanford team, that an absorbent material can be produced using sisal leaves, and it could replace cotton, wood pulp and chemical absorbents in sanitary napkins. The team also reported a way to obtain this material without using any polluting chemicals. So what can happen is this sisal leaves can be used for making sanitary napkins, and one of the most important thing that you require in a sanitary pad, that is basically, if we talk about, is the अगर हम बात करते हैं कि आपको सबसे ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट चीज क्या चाहिए होती है, उसके लिए अब्सॉर्बेंट capacity होनी चाहिए, absorbent properties होनी चाहिए, and they have found that the absorbent material can be produced using sisal leaves, and that could be a great way that could replace cotton, wood pulp and chemical absorbents in the sanitary napkins. So आपको ये चीज एक बारी में पता होनी चाहिए, nothing more than that, right? Okay. Now today's, if we see the articles, nothing that much important, right? थोड़े political articles हैं. Now this is an interesting news that is related to Project Tiger. Now one of the thing that I want to tell you is Project Tiger was launched in 1973. Now these are certain aspects that we have to understand that are very very important. Now what we have seen is that the Project Tiger, अगर आज बात करते हैं, it has been more than 50 years, right, for the Project Tiger, and it has been one of the most successful conservation efforts that have been taken by the government of India in order to protect a particular species, that is the Project Tiger. Now when we talk about Project Tiger, it led to the formation of tiger reserves. This is the most important aspect that we have to understand. The tiger reserves have been formed as a part of Project Tiger, where specific care is being taken for the protection and conservation of tigers. Now when I talk about tiger reserves, there are total of 54 tiger reserves in the country. This is the second aspect that we have to understand, that there is how much? 54 tiger reserves in the country. Now second most important thing that we have to understand is under Wildlife Protection Act 1972, right? So Wildlife Protection Act under 1972 was created, and under Wildlife Protection Act 1972, and with this passing of Project Tiger, there was specifically critical tiger habitats that were notified inside the national park and wildlife sanctuaries. Now this is very very important to understand, that within this, when we talk about Project Tiger, that there is a particular terminology called critical tiger habitats that are within the area under the national park and wildlife sanctuaries. This is the most important point that we have to understand. And if I talk about critical tiger habitats, they cover 42 lakh 913 square kilometer or 26% of the area under national park and wildlife sanctuaries. So this is the second most important point that we have to understand related to critical tiger habitat. So there could be a direct question related to critical tiger habitat. And what is a critical tiger habitat? It is one of the most protected areas and it is basically a part of national parks and wildlife sanctuaries. Now the second thing that we have to understand related to project tiger is, right, कि जब हम project tiger की बात कर रहे हैं, now initially there were 9 tiger reserves, agar aapko pata hoga, right? Initially how many tiger reserves were there? There were total of 9 tiger reserves initially, but now there have been total of 54 tiger reserves. Now with the development of time, let's say over the period of years, there was in what we can say in 2005 a special tiger task force created a specific authority by the name of National Tiger Conservation Authority, right, in the year 2005. That is a nodal agency for the conservation of tigers throughout the country, that is National Tiger Conservation Authority. Now in along with this, 1 year later there was a special act that was passed that was related to protecting the rights of the forest dwellers and the non-tribals forest dwelling community in 2006 by the name of Forest Rights Act 2006, that basically told के अगर हमने यहाँ पे किसी particular area में we have to relocate tribal people, then we have to settle their rights, individual rights as well as the community rights. So Forest Rights Act was basically making sure that there is what we can say talk about development of the rights of the tribals as well. Now these have to be read together when we talk about critical tiger habitat, when we talk about Forest Rights Act, and when we talk about National Tiger Conservation Authority. Now this article says that originally tiger reserves was to be created in a democratic process on the basis of scientific and objective criteria. The tiger conservation plan was similarly required to ensure the agricultural livelihood, development and other interests of the people living in a tiger bearing forest or a tiger reserve. तो बेसिकली यहाँ पे वही चीज थी कि यहाँ पे हम इंश्योर करेंगे, लाइवलीहुड को भी इंश्योर करेंगे, डेवलपमेंट को भी इंश्योर करेंगे और अदर इंटरेस्ट ऑफ द पीपल को भी होल्ड करेंगे. बट व्हाट इज द प्रॉब्लम दैट इज बेसिकली कमिंग आउट इज, problem lies in the fact that tiger reserves have been notified without meeting these requirements. The government hasn't obtained informed consent from the forest dwelling scheduled tribe communities and other traditional communities. Now one of the things you have to understand is, let's say in a particular forest there are certain forest dwelling communities. Now if you declare that forest with of tiger reserve without taking request or permission from Gram Sabha according to the Forest Rights Act 2006, then it creates a lot of problems. See, this is the point that we have to understand. Originally when tiger reserves were created, they were basically created on the premise that we will also take care of the tigers as well, plus the development of the people as well who are basically living in the tiger reserve or in the forest dwelling, let's say the forest dwelling communities. But the problem that has basically come up in these areas is that you have notified the tiger reserves, but you are not. This is creating a lot of problem for the creation of tiger reserve being created between the people and the protection of the tiger. So there is a very much a debate that goes on between the conservation of tiger versus the tribal people, whether their rights have been recognized or not. I hope this point is clear to everybody, right? So ये एक चीज आपको पता होना चाहिए. यहाँ पे दो तीन चीजें बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है हमारे एग्जामिनेशन के पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू से. वन थिंग इज रिलेटेड टू टाइगर रिजर्व्स. ओरिजिनली कितने थे, आज कितने हैं, कितना एरिया कवर करते हैं, वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. सेकंड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज critical tiger habitat, that is also very important. Third is the nodal agency, National Tiger Conservation Authority. Fourth thing is related to what we talk about is the Forest Rights Act. But the problem is the creation of tiger in 2006, that is to create the tiger reserves in a very scientific, objective and in a democratic manner, considering the interest of the forest dwelling communities as well. Because their interest has not been taken into loop, that is why this article has been published कि yes, आज के टाइम पे अगर हम बात करें, टाइगर की पॉपुलेशन इंक्रीज हो चुकी है. It has been estimated around more than 3900 or around 3900, but still they want to ask one or the two aspects that whether they have come up in the line with the democratic principles or not when we talk about tiger reserves. हाँ जी guys, यहां तक सबको क्लियर है तो एक बार कंफर्मेशन दे दो. This is most important article if we see the environment news, right? हाँ जी. Okay, now moving to the next part. ठीक है, Israel faces Gaza genocide case by South Africa at UN court. Now South Africa has taken Israel to the UN court, that is International Court of Justice, and their decisions are legally binding as well, and it has a limited power to enforce them, right? So they have taken about the killings that have been killed by the Israel at Gaza, that is innocent Palestinian people, right? So this is the thing that we have to understand. Now, this is a very interesting thing that we need to understand, that is related to world came close to the critical 1.5 degrees Celsius limit in 2023. Now, this is very interesting. Now, every time we talk about Paris Agreement, we talk about one or two things that are कि यार पेरिस एग्रीमेंट के अंदर दो चीजें होनी चाहिए. एक तो डेवलप्ड कंट्रीज को मदद करनी पड़ेगी डेवलपिंग कंट्रीज की इन द फॉर्म ऑफ क्लाइमेट फाइनेंस ऑफ $100 billion स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम 2021 टिल 2025. सेकंड इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज टू कीप द टेम्परेचर लिमिट टू let's say within 2 degree, or make sure the efforts are being done to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degree. Now, in this context, they are saying this year we were hovering around that 1.5 degree mark from the industrial levels. And if we see the trend over the years, yes, there's gonna be certain years where we would be witnessing the 1.5 degree centigrade mark. So that means we are not able to achieve the Paris Agreement. That is not the case. What we have to do is we have to maintain overall efforts in order to make sure that in 1 year there could be rise in temperature of 1.5 degree, but after that we have to make certain efforts so that we are able to limit that temperature increase. That is the thing that is being propagated in this article. That is very, very important to understand, that they are saying, but even if Earth's average surface temperature breaches 1.5 degrees Celsius in 2024, some scientists predict it doesn't mean the world has failed to meet the Paris Agreement target of capping global warming under that threshold. That would occur only after several successive years above 1.5 degrees Celsius benchmark, and even the 2015 treaty allows for the possibility of reducing Earth's temperature after a period of overshoot as well. अगर ओवरशूट हो भी जाता है, उसके बाद भी हमारे पास है कि हम टेम्परेचर को रिड्यूस कर सकते हैं. So this is the most important part that we have to recognize, we have to understand related to Paris Agreement, right? ये डायरेक्ट प्रीलिम्स का क्वेश्चन बनता है, क्योंकि हमें लगता है कि एक बार 1.5 डिग्री मार्क हो गया तो हमने पेरिस एग्रीमेंट को ब्रीच कर दिया. बट नाउ दिस इज द थिंग दैट वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड, इवन इट हैज बीन इंक्रीज्ड बियॉन्ड दैट थ्रेशोल्ड, दैट डजंट मीन दैट वी हैव ब्रीच्ड द पेरिस एग्रीमेंट, राइट? ओके, next part is related to Agnipath scheme could mean the end of Nepalese Gurkhas in Indian army. Now, one thing you have to understand is that we know that Gurkha regiment has been there in Indian army, and that is because of the 1947 tripartite agreement that was signed between Nepal, India and Britain, that guides Nepalese youth recruitment in Indian and British armed forces. So it was from the 1947 treaty that we have seen the regiments of Gurkha in Indian army as well as in the British army. Now, when I take you back to the history, Gurkhas have been a part of martial race, and it happened in British India as well after the revolt of 1857. Initially, the soldiers of Awadh were mainly the part of the martial races, but because of the things that happened in Awadh, that they were annexed on the basis of Mughal administration. After the revolt of 1857, the whole concept of martial race was changed, and it was the Gurkhas, Jats, and the Sikh regiment that were brought into the concept of martial races, and that continued even after 1947, even after we got independence, that we continued inducting Gurkha regiment into the Indian army. Now that has taken a sudden hit after the अग्निपथ स्कीम एंड आफ्टर द कोविड पेंडेमिक एज वेल. कोविड पेंडेमिक के साथ ही हमने देखा कि अग्निपथ स्कीम आई, जिसमें बोला गया कि 4 साल के लिए रिक्रूटमेंट होगी, राइट? नाउ दिस क्रिएटेड अ लॉट ऑफ व्हाट वी कैन से what we dilemma for the people of, or the government of Nepal as well, as the government had asked that whether they would be sending their people into the Indian army, and now they haven't taken any decision related to that. That is why there has been a status quo that has been maintained, where no Nepali, or we can say Gorkha regiment, has been inducted into the Gorkha regiment. Second important thing that we have to understand from this percepts and context is that there is a lot of unemployment that has been brewing in the state of Nepal. बहुत ज़्यादा unemployment है, and this was an opportunity that was there for the Nepali people to induct their youth into the Gorkha regiment. But with this particular Agnipath scheme, and with the no decision that has been taken by the Nepali government, as a result, people over there are not able to induct themselves, and they are looking themselves out of the jobs. And this was the most important thing that was providing them the employment thing. The soaring unemployment rate is a major concern in Nepal. This is the point that we have to understand. A lot of youth are there dying and committing suicide because of this particular aspect as well, right? तो ये चीज हमें पता होनी चाहिए इस पर्टिकुलर एस्पेक्ट को लेके कि अग्निपथ स्कीम की ये एक इम्प्लीकेशंस हो सकती हैं. दूसरी चीज जो बड़ी इम्प्लीकेशन है अग्निपथ स्कीम को लेके, दैट इज रिलेटेड टू, अगर हम बात करें कि एक खतरा ये भी है कि अगर लोग ट्रेन हो जाएंगे, लेट्स से द नेपाली गवर्नमेंट टेक अ डिसीजन that they are sending the people into the Gurkha army, and then they train over here for 4 years. After that, they are retired. Now, then they could be overtaken by the forces that work against the government, and they can be used by another non-state actors of the Nepal as well in order to, let's say, destabilize the government. So that is also a concern among the Nepali government as well. Right, guys? तो ये एक important point था जो आपको पता होना चाहिए. Okay, I think we are done with the today's analysis, right? एक चीज है, ऑयल टैंकर्स कंटिन्यू रेड सी मूवमेंट डिस्पाइट हाउदी अटैक्स. आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू कि ऑयल टैंकर की मूवमेंट अभी भी अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं, इट इज स्टिल गोइंग ऑन दैट रूट, राइट, रेड सी रूट, दैट आई हैव ऑलरेडी टोल्ड यू दैट इज द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट ऑफ आवर यूपीएससी प्रिपरेशन. ये पेपर में जरूर पूछा जाएगा, बट आपको फिर भी पता होना चाहिए कि स्टिल दे आर गोइंग ऑन दैट रूट बिकॉज दे फील that is the route that is gonna save them a lot of money. Otherwise they can reroute the route as well, but that will lead to extra cost of production as well, and that can create a inflation in the whole world as well. But still we are witnessing that the oil tankers are continuing red sea movements despite how the attacks. So attacks have driven up shipping costs sharply along with insurance premium, but have had less impact than feared on oil flows, with shippers continually to use east-west passage. Houthis, who said they target Israel-bound vessels, have largely attacked non-petroleum goods shipment. So this is a point that we have to understand, right, guys? And we are done with the today's analysis, right? So today's analysis was a little bit short one as well, right? So don't worry about that. But that's it, guys. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. So the today's articles were mainly on the concept of environment, making seasonal leaves and as an absorbent material to make sanitary napkins. Second was about National Clean Air Program that we discussed. Third was related to Project Tiger and not being implemented in a democratic, scientific, and keeping the needs of the people. Fourth one was related to Nepali government Gorkha regiment, and fifth one was related to how these attack and still the vessels moving through the Red Sea. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Hanji guys, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'm gonna end the session. Okay, I will give you 1 minute. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Weber, it's already class has ended. It's about to end. You are saying good morning right now. You have been late. Hanji, chaliye. Thank you so much, guys. We will see each other tomorrow, same time, 9 a.m. Till then, take care. Bye bye.